Hi friends, welcome back to our channel Easy Mathematics. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic in mathematics that is called vectors. So this topic is very important in mathematics as well as in physics. In mathematics, how we can define a vector, how we can denote a vector. Vector means a physical quantity which is having both magnitude and direction. So any physical quantity which is having both magnitude and direction are called vector. So a physical quantity which is having magnitude alone is called a scalar quantity. So physical quantities we are dividing it into two, vector quantity and scalar quantity. In mathematics, how we denote a vector quantity? So we denote a vector using directed line segment. So what do you mean by directed line segment? So a line segment with a direction. So line segment means ends will be there. Initial point, terminal point will be there. So a line segment with the direction, so that is called a directed line segment. Line segment to denote a vector quantity. So a vector we usually denote it using small letter a, small letter b, small letter c, bar. So this notation represents the given quantity is a vector. So this arrow indicates its direction. Let AB denotes a directed line segment. So direction is from A to B. So we can denote this vector using this notation AB bar. We read it as AB bar. So direction is from A to B. A is called initial point, B is called terminal point. Then this length is called modulus of this vector, and modulus of this vector AB we denote it using the symbol. We read it as magnitude of AB. So magnitude of AB means modulus. Modulus means length of the directed line segment. So that is geometrical interpretation of modulus. Modulus of a vector, magnitude of a vector means length of the directed line segment. Displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, we can consider it as example for vector quantity. Whereas temperature, volume, area, mass, etc. we can consider it as example for a scalar quantity. We have different types of vectors. So these are the important 6 types of vectors that we have. First one is zero vector. Second one unit vector. Third one co-initial vector. Fourth one collinear vector or parallel vector. Fifth one is coplanar vector. Then negative of a vector. So these are the 6 important types of vectors that we have. Zero vector. When we can say a vector, when we can call a vector as a zero vector. Zero vector means its magnitude will be 0. Magnitude is 0 means initial and terminal point will be same. That means initial and terminal points are coincides. Then we can call it as a zero vector. That means it will be a point. So magnitude is 0. Magnitude means length is 0. So no length means initial and terminal point will coincide. It's only a point. Second one is a unit vector. Unit vector means its magnitude will be unity, that is 1. Suppose a vector A bar is said to be a unit vector if its length, that means magnitude, will be 1 unit. So length of a vector is 1 unit, means that is called unit vector. So magnitude unity. Then third one is co-initial vectors. So two vectors having same initial points are called co-initial vector. Suppose, for example, this is A vector, this is B vector. They are originating from same initial point. So we can call this A vector and B vector as co-initial vectors because their initial points are same. Next vector is collinear vector or parallel vector. So two vectors are collinear means they are parallel, that is meaning. So collinear, parallel vectors. Vector A and vector B, they are parallel. Then one vector can be represented as a constant multiple of another vector. That means A bar we can represent it as lambda into B bar, where lambda is a constant. Or same manner we can represent B bar as lambda into A bar. So one vector will be the constant multiple of another vector. Then we can say that two vectors are collinear or parallel vectors. Then next one is coplanar. When we can say two vectors are coplanar? If two vectors are lying in same plane, then we can say that two vectors are coplanar. Then last one is negative of a vector. So what does mean by negative of a vector? Suppose A is a vector having direction like this. Then I am considering another vector having same magnitude, only direction alone I am changing. So magnitude is same, direction alone I am changing. Then if magnitudes are same, direction alone different, then such vectors are called negative of a vector. So this vector we can write it as minus A bar. Two vectors having same magnitude only differ by direction, such vectors are called negative vectors. Next, one very important vector that we want to discuss in this section is position vector of a point. Suppose in 3D space, x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, if you are given a point P, x, y, z, so corresponding to every point in space we can consider a position vector. Suppose P, x, y, z is the given point. How we can find position vector of this point P, x, y, z? Position vector is nothing but vector joining origin and that given point. So OP, so here P is the given point, so OP, vector OP bar represents position vector of that given point P. Suppose if another point Q is given x1, y1, z1, how we can consider position vector of Q? You connect the Q with the origin, then OQ bar will represent position vector of that point. So similarly, if you are given any point in space, we can consider, we can associate position vector to that point. Dear students, today we discussed vectors, different types of vector, and position vector of a point. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon to get new notifications. Thank you for watching.